This is Christianese with J.D. Shin, where faith gets tested, truth cuts deep, and we learn to live what we believe. Now, join the conversation. Let's roll. What's up, Jacob?
What's up?
How you doing?
We back. We so back.
We so back.
Yeah, so back.
I don't know what that means, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So I reached out to you a little while ago and wanted to have a conversation about discipleship.
Yeah.
So I guess first question, who is Jesus in your life?
Yeah. So I grew up Catholic.
Okay.
So I did all of like the sacraments up until the final boss. Which
Final boss. What is this Zelda?
It's kind of, yeah. They have the different levels in the
Yeah.
Catholic religion.
Mhm.
And so the final boss is when you say, like, yeah, I'm going to give my life to Catholicism. And I told my priest, like, I got too many questions. I'm not in a place where I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of surprised because he was very much like, I respect the journey and appreciate you being honest. And he kind of talked, he went through a journey as well. And so what is that? What is the final sacrament? I can't even think off the top of my head.
Confirmation?
Confirmation.
Yeah.
There we go. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was probably 17, I want to say, around that age. And from that point, I kind of just stopped going to church. It was every Sunday, Tuesday, Catholic children's classes for most of my life. And kind of stepped away for a while, went to college, and always kind of felt the like belief was still there, but had so many questions around like, why do I believe? And how do I know? And I think a lot of people kind of go through that. And I think a lot of us just kind of stay in that place. And it is something even now that I feel like a lot of Christians don't talk about is like what a radical religion it actually is.
Yeah.
Because people will get mad at people for not believing in Jesus. But I'm like, you have to understand, you're saying that you believe that like an angel came down and impregnated a woman who then like freed us from our sins. Like if you weren't born or brought up with that sort of framing of how the world works, like that's a lot, right?
It seems crazy.
Yeah, it seems absolutely crazy. Unless you've experienced it for yourself and like the work of the Holy Spirit. And then it's like, that's what makes it seem possible, you know? So kind of getting back to my story though, I like 16 to 20, I pretty much just like drank, and I was like the party guy, and luckily I never got anything harder because of very addictive personality, and who knows like where that would have led, but not good places. So I kind of did that. Then my now ex-wife, a wife at the time, we were talking about having kids. I had Tyson, my oldest. We were getting, and I decided like, I need to stop this. So I cut out drinking a lot. I wasn't completely sober yet, but it was very much like not as prevalent in my life. I started focusing on like, I want to get healthy. I don't want to be the like unhealthy dad that doesn't have energy to hang out with the kids. I don't want to be the hungover dad that's distracted by the hangover. And so I didn't have that distraction in my life. And then my brother, who's kind of been walked in faith his entire life, he had a bachelor party, and it was a much different bachelor party than what you would think. Like we went to Portland, we got ice cream, we went to church on Saturday night, and like that was a bachelor party.
Okay.
And it was at church where I was like, man, like this is what's been missing from my life. I just like felt the presence, and I felt the calling, and it was at that point that I was like, man, I need to like step back into this because this is what I've been kind of denying for so long, but I just need to accept that this is what I believe to be true.
Even with questions still looming in your mind.
I think always there's questions.
Yeah.
I think for me at least.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. Like sometimes like listening to the being at church, I go to West Salem Foursquare now, and like being there and like the pastor's talking about something, and like the back of my head, I'm like, man, this is just a lot to like think about, to have this like frame of reference of like just the world and how it works, and like having like a God that created the entire universe, and like I think there's just questions that come with that. But yeah, I think I'm still like a very curious person. I consider myself open-minded, and I think that it's good to be open-minded because the truth will always just be revealed.
Yeah.
So I think some people have the perspective of like you need to like close out other types of conversations because it can kind of lead to maybe not like negative decisions or lead you on the wrong path. But personally, I feel like it's probably like a Bible for a quote that will make this not true, but I don't know. I feel like it's okay because like we should have faith like God is gonna provide us with the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I can't think of a Bible verse that dispels that or proves it either way. But what I'm thinking of is, have you heard of Need to Breathe? I love their music, and I like the gravel in the lead singer's voice, Bear Reinhardt. But they have a lyric that says, "I hope we're asking questions till the day that we die."
Yeah.
And I love that concept because one question leads to one answer, but another question or a set of questions that we get to go deeper on. And I think it's just valuable to continue to learn.
Yeah.
If we don't, because if we don't learn more, we're minimizing the bigness of God.
Yeah.
And I think that's dumb. I
For
think
sure.
we do ourselves a disservice as humankind
Yeah.
if we dispel God down
Yeah.
into this thing that we can fully understand.
Yeah, I think like an example of that is like science, and I've been in some conversations with Christians who are kind of like it almost feels like they're against science, and to me, it's like it seems like this is just like an insight into like how God made everything work together.
Yeah,
it's kind of like what we get to see through this. But if we're not curious to look at it, we don't have that opportunity. Yeah,
no, 100%. So you mentioned your brother. Was he part of helping you grow in your discipleship with Jesus?
I think he very much like led through actions.
Yeah,
where he just like kind of stayed consistent on the path. I'm sure he's had his own struggles
sure.
Everybody does,
no
but
doubt.
He just has always been someone who's like very faithful and good leader, in his family as well. And so things I admire for sure. I think we all kind of know our own struggles more than we know everybody else's. So if we're honest with ourselves, at least I would say sometimes that leads to us just kind of like, man, I'm not as like good in this space as somebody else is, but I think sometimes that's just because we don't know their particular struggles.
Sure.
Yeah.
And yet having somebody that can point out when you said to me not long ago that what was the quote that you had said about the fish?
The fish is the last one to see there in water. Yeah.
Yeah. The fish is the last one to see there in water.
Yeah.
In a similar conversation, a person that is helping you grow spiritually can say, "Do you know that you're a fish and that you're in the water?"
Yeah.
What?
does that
They can
mean?
point those things out to you. Go,
for sure.
You might be looking at this passage maybe some way that's twisting the way you understand it, or maybe you probably shouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And it's my pastor likes to say it's not bad because it's a sin; it's a sin because it's bad.
Yeah, yeah.
And so a person that's discipling you just is walking along life with you. At least in my experience in life, is that they're saying, "Hey, this could be harmful for you.
Yeah.
I want to help you. I'm here to be a part of your life and not to just tell you how you're being dumb."
Yeah.
That accomplishes so little.
For sure.
But was there anybody outside of your brother that kind of walked with you in life, then pointed out things like that you're a fish in the water?
Yeah, totally. It's like when I was in my 20s, kind of in my party stage, we were making music. I was a rapper. I went by the kid named Kid SB. I think you might have known about that about me at one point.
Yeah.
But there actually are a couple people that were in that circle with me that have like been on this walk as well.
Okay.
So my friend Jason Gunlock, somebody that's been like a great mentor, and kind of having conversations with him, he talked about like how lonely it was when he started like moving away from that side and like moving into like being more involved in the church, because like we were still at the bar on Saturday. So like he was like, it was a lonely place to be because he didn't have his like normal group of friends that he was doing things with, because we were still parts of things that he wasn't really interested in. And but another just like example of, I think, good Christian leadership is being confident in like the Lord and just taking those steps because it's the right thing to do, even though there is like the criticism and you don't get those phone calls like you used to be as far as like what happens on Saturday nights.
Yeah. They're not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something I remember he talked about, he got this guidance from somebody else that was Braille, or Ryan Winchester. He's a pastor now. He used to be a rapper. I went by Braille, but he's a Christian rapper. But he said, like, you won't get those Saturday night let's hang out talks, but you'll get when something big is happening, like something important, like that's when your friends are going to call you, because like you are on this like straight path. And I thought that was something that's kind of interesting as
when
well.
he said the friends will call you, hey, I need something, or this is going on in life, they're talking about seeing your consistency. Is that what he's, just for clarity, so I understand what you're saying?
I think so. I think also just looking for kind of like a biblical sense of a biblical way to make sense of what's happening or how to respond to it appropriately. I think sometimes like just that clarity even.
Yeah. I'm reading Galatians right now, and Paul is to that church. He writes this letter saying, you guys are dumb. I mean, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
But you're making mistakes. You need to get back on that straight path.
Yeah.
So people that can disciple and tell you, and you can respect.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a mentor in my life that can say, you probably didn't handle that the best.
Yeah.
And I can hear it because I know he cares. Going back to our once upon a time leadership conversation, that he has the empathy.
Yeah.
And yet the forthrightness to correct the action.
Absolutely.
Seems like that's a good discipler. A good discipler is a good leader.
Exactly. 100%. Yeah. I think you have to be in order to do that well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you said you're going to church. You're going to the Foursquare here or one of the Foursquare churches here in Salem. Rad. I know John. And so is there discipleship stuff that you're participating in at the church?
Not at all.
Not really?
Like 0%.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like
just relationships.
You brought up the topic, and I'm like, man, what am I going to talk about in the world of discipleship? Because it hasn't really been a part of my life, and it should be, but it hasn't been.
In a formal sense.
Yeah.
But informally, you mentioned Jason and some other guys. So I don't necessarily think that it's got to be like I'm sitting with a pastor once a week.
Yeah, but I think there also is the value of like that consistent community and like making space for the Bible study. I did have a business owner Bible study at my house for a while, which was awesome. And then it's been a while, kind of like faded out. But I think like those sort of things are important in the world of discipleship. I'm just more acknowledging that I haven't made it a priority. But I do think that sometimes we do get caught up in like the Christian things that you should do. Yeah. And sometimes that's not the most important part.
Yeah, they can be. I think the church has a tendency to say, now you need to do this.
Yeah.
And that it can get a little dangerous. They're still, like you said, they're important and they're valuable, but are they the right answer, and should they be required?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. I don't know. I think there's got to be a balance to it somehow. Sure. We should be all in on Jesus.
Yeah.
But should we be all in on churchy stuff?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think it depends, right? Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
There we go.
Where are you at now? Like what's the burning thing going on in your Jesus time right now?
It is just making it a priority. I think there's like the people that believe in God and the people that obey God. Like there's those two paths, right? And like the people that believe is a much bigger group than those who actually are obeying. And I think that's another thing that's just like a constant struggle in life is which side are you on? Like are you somebody that's like recognizing it, or do you actually like obey like the commandments, and are you taking time in scripture to understand, so we just heavy stuff.
It's a journey.
The
John Phelan, your pastor, once said in a sermon, he used the Harley Davidson old slogan, the journey is the destination. And it really is. I mean, you got to put feet to the path and keep taking baby steps through the office, baby steps.
For sure. Excuse me, I'm local. What was that movie? Bill Murray.
Yeah, Bill Murray. I can't remember.
It was a good one, though.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Good times. Hey, thanks for making us stop and having a chat.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
Jacob Espinosa. That guy has been kind of an inspiration to me in various capacities over the few years that I've known him. And he comes in and he speaks on leadership, and he cares about his community. He's a great guy to be around, and he's got a really cool voice. I do have to say that. But Jacob is one of those guys that is, through life's ups and downs, from what I've been able to observe about him, is that he stays pretty steady, and life will happen to him, but he continues to move forward. The leadership speaking that he's been able to do in different capacities here and beyond in our local area has been really inspiring to me, just personally, just by being able to watch him. And I think that's something that we could each take home, maybe just a little life lesson there. Stay consistent. But another thing that struck me, the value of having someone that's a human person that can help us walk through the various parts of the Christian life. I think we kind of poo-poo it. We get too busy. I don't know what all of our excuses are. Probably a lot of them, different for each person. But finding somebody that you can go, hey, I don't know. I got nothing on this. Can you help me with this part of this walk thing with Jesus? And his brother was super instrumental for him, and that's awesome. But there's been a lot of people that have had somebody around them that they've been able to say, hey, can you help? I don't know on this. And that takes humility, and that's a learned thing that we all really need to step into, is humility. In different capacities, some people have it different than others, and that's the part of the journey again. But here we are listening to Jake's story, and just circumstances of life made him go, I think I need to go kind of back to a direction where I was getting a solid foundation. So where's that solid foundation that you need? Take his story and apply it to yourself. What do you need to go back to? One of the things that I remember a mentor saying to me one time was that I should go back to the things that were at the first. Just like when Jesus told John to write the letter to the church, the 7 churches, he told one of the churches, go back to the things that were at the first, that were valuable to you, that you had your first love in. So is there a growth point in there to go back to something that was fiery for you, that was exciting, that was part of that journey with God, that was leaning you forward towards something impactful for you and for the rest of the church community? So lean into that. My note of encouragement for you today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this with somebody that might find it beneficial. And until next time, I love you.